And welcome back to TL Talks Podcast. I am TL. As usual, it's good to have you. Have a seat, get comfortable, relax. Let's start off with like and subscribe. Appreciate it in advance. First segment of the day is called Thought of the Day. Thought of the day for this month is seeking the truth. You might be asking yourself, what do you mean by that? Seeking the truth. What I mean by that is seeking the truth about yourself and everybody around you. I think a lot of people are not honest with themselves about who they are or what they are, and they sometimes are in denial about people around them as well. So whether it's that you're an asshole or an addict or a bad brother or a bad parent or not a good man, I mean, the list goes on, but the point is that if you are lying to yourself most of your adult life about who you really are, it's hard to make progress on getting to the bottom of who you are and becoming a better person. So my advice, seek the truth no matter what it is about yourself and people around you, even if it hurts your feelings, even if it hurts your ego, seek that out, because the sooner you get to the bottom of it, the better off you will be. Moving on to the next segment, which is called If I Were President. My topic for If I Were President for this month is about shaking up the political bipartisan status quo. I mean, it's been like this for my entire life. Republicans and Democrats and independents, Republicans, Democrats, I think always win. One of those two parties always wins, the presidency. And so I think that that's BS for a couple different reasons. I think that, the whole country doesn't really fit into two boxes. And I think that the whole system is just messed up. So starting with it shouldn't be bipartisan. Then you go further into actually how somebody is, in the running for president and then actually is elected to president. There's always different factors. Factors like, do you have money? Do you have thousands, if not millions of dollars to put into campaigning to get your name out there and get exposure? Do you have money to travel around the U.S. and, do seminars and speeches and stuff to sway votes? So I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think that money should be attached to your legitimacy of the president of the United States. I think that there's a lot of people that could be qualified, do a good job, a better job than maybe the current president. And the fact that those are factors that are real is disappointing. I think it's 2022. We've evolved. You know what I mean? We've made progress on a lot of different fronts in this country. So I'm not sure why politically that's such a hard thing to move on to the next stage, but it has been. And so that's what I would do. If I was president, I would shake up the bipartisan system and make it more fair for everybody to have an equal shot at becoming the president, so we could have better candidates. Moving on to TLRantz. My rant for this month is about clickbait. So if you are on social media, which you probably are, you go on Google or you go on Facebook or, whatever it is, Instagram, and you see these articles, right? They pop up. The algorithm knows what you're interested in. So whether it's a certain sports team or a certain, whatever you're into, it knows that. So it's going to feed you that, right? Through YouTube, through all these different avenues. So when it sends you stuff, it's going to send you clickbait that makes you interested enough to click on it and read it. But most of the time it's a waste of your time. And that pisses me off. Now, here's the thing. It pisses me off because I fall for it. I consider myself a fairly intelligent man, but here I am almost daily clicking on bullshit that's clickbait. And so that's something that I need to do a better job of. I need to realize, okay, what are they trying to accomplish? What is their ulterior motive here? Not click on it, not waste my time reading stuff that isn't beneficial at all. But it infuriates me. Like clickbait, there's other things that infuriate me, but for this month, I'm just going to focus on clickbait. Pisses me off. It's a waste of time. I need to do better. You probably need to do better. Let's do it together. Moving on to Browns and Bandits talk. So if you watch my podcast, I'm a huge Cleveland Browns fan. Not much going on. It's preseason right now, but Baker Mayfield finally has found a new home in Carolina, which I'm very happy about. He wanted to move on. We wanted him to move on, and so I'm rooting for him. I'm still a Baker fan. I want him to succeed wherever he's at. Whether or not he will succeed, we'll see. If he's doesn't do well, then I have to admit to a lot of people that I was wrong about him being a good quarterback. But if he does do well, if he's a top 12 quarterback in Carolina, like I think he can be, then they owe me an apology. So that's all that's going on with the Browns. Moving on to the Denver Bandits. Denver Bandits are a women's tackle football team in Denver that I coach. I'm a coach of, not the coach. I'm a coach of. Came off a really good season. What's going on with them right now? They just had exit interviews with some players and coaches from the team. I just did mine last night. It's really cool to do those to kind of, speak your piece about the season. And I like to do that. I think there's a delicate balance with those though, because if you listen to too much feedback, it can be not good. So I think there's delicate balance there, but I think they have good intentions, and they definitely take it to heart. So kudos to them for that. We have a banquet at the end of this month, which will be the last team activity until the off season. So banquet's fun, food, awards, and stuff like that. So a great way to wrap everything up. And lastly, the upcoming season. So if you're involved with women's football, you know that every year there's turnover. There's players that don't come back, retire, coaches that don't come back, retire. And so there's always turnover. There's never the same team twice. So with that being said, I am so eager. Like, I don't think you guys understand. I'm so eager to know what next year's team looks like. Whether in just from top to bottom, like who the coaches are going to be, who the players are going to be, what players aren't coming back, which players are, what new players we're going to get. I hear some rumors about some pretty juicy names in women's football, possibly coming to play for Denver Bandits. And so I'm not going to share those with you, but if those happen, or even half of them happen, it's pretty big news for us. And so looking forward to that, looking to see, saying things and doing things are two different things, but I can't wait. I'm super eager. I'm usually a patient person, but in this case, I'm not patient. I want to skip to the part where I know who we have. And unfortunately, I can't fast forward the clock. So I have to sit around and wait. Lastly, before we get into the interview, is something kind of big in my opinion. I announced probably 2 or 3 weeks ago that I wanted to start a new page on Facebook called the Women's Tackle Football Transfer Portal. The reason that I am doing this is because there's 2 players that have posted on Facebook. One, her name was J Rock. She used to play for Atlanta. She was saying how she's done with the Kansas City Glory, done with the WNFC, looking for a new team and seeing like who's interested or what they could offer her. Then after that, Regina Jackson of the Mississippi Panthers had, I wouldn't say a similar post, but she posted saying she's a free agent. There's been a level of disrespect that she's not okay with, and she's looking for other places to play. So then my wheels started turning. I'm like, you have these 2 players who are both good players, and they're looking for a new home. But aside from just making a general Facebook post, there's no really way to facilitate that for them, right? Like there's no way to, kind of help them make that transition to another team. So then the light bulb went above my head and said, well, wouldn't it be cool if there was a transfer portal just for women's football in America? And so since I know a fair amount of people in the sport, and I like to think that I have a decent grip on the sport in our country, I said, well, why the hell not? Why? I mean, I can do it. I have the resources. I can't do it alone. I'll say that. I definitely need help from some people, and luckily I have enough people that are willing to help me. But I am launching that next Monday, which is the 18th, I believe, of July. Yeah, that sounds right. So stay tuned for that. If you're watching this podcast, you're probably a fan of Kelli Smith or On the Alabama Fire. And so spread the word. The transfer portal is going to be the shit. We are going to have awesome graphic designs. Basically, it's going to be for people that are leaving their team that they're playing on right now, whether it's because of relocating for work or they had a falling out with the team, whatever the reason is, if you're leaving your team or thinking about leaving your team, you basically fill out a form on the transfer portal on Facebook, fill out a form of all the details we're going to ask you, send us a picture so we can put you in a graphic, and then we're going to post it. And then whoever's interested, based on your preferences, whether it's Facebook DMs, text messages, phone calls, whatever you prefer, that's how they're going to contact you, and you'll be able to discuss, what they can offer you. And then at a certain point, whenever you make a decision about where you want to play, you'll announce that back to me, and then I'll announce it to the page, right? So and so has announced they're going to be playing for this team in 2023. Congratulations. And then there'll be another graphic for that. Then we move on to the next one. But anyways, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited about it. I think that we have the right people in place to make it successful. And I can't wait, honestly. I think it'll be huge, and it'll be a really good value to the sport for helping players find new homes that need to. So without further ado, let's get into the interview. As I said, my interviewee of this month is Miss Kelli Smith. She is a superstar, I want to say running back, but just football player for the Alabama Fire and WNFC. She's a phenomenal player. I've been a fan of hers for many moons, but we never really got to talk one-on-one until now. Like we know about each other, we like each other, we're cool, but we never were able to talk until this interview, and so it was really cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed as much as me. Without further ado, here is Miss Kelli Smith. All right, I'd like to welcome Miss Kelli Smith to the TL Talks podcast. Kelli Kells, it's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, like I said, I wanted to get into a little bit more of you as a person. I've been a fan of yours for years now. One of your coaches told me that you remember back in the day when I had the unfortunate assignment of being the All-American coach against your team. And that was not enjoyable for game planning. But yeah, I think we've known about each other for a long time.
Right.
And luckily we're both in the same league now, WNFC, which is a dope league. And so I know a decent amount about you as a player, but I don't know nothing about like where you're from. I feel like you have a track and rugby background, but I can't really confirm that. I'm just guessing. But I want to fill in all the blanks. So
okay.
If you don't mind, let's start with your childhood. Where did you grow up? You know what I mean? Like, what was that like?
Okay.
For you?
Cool. All right. So I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, born and raised, and then I got a scholarship to UAB. So you are correct. I do have a track and field background. I got a scholarship. I actually been running track since I was 5. Yeah, and so my scholarship to UAB was I was mainly recruited for high jump and long jump. And then I got to be the first leg on the 4x1 relay for a couple years. So that was fun. We won a couple times, so that was fun. I got to be a part of that. So yeah, that was my childhood. And back rewinding a little bit, through middle school and high school, I played multiple sports: volleyball, basketball, did a little cross country, just to stay in shape because track is a spring sport. So I did that. I was also in a marching band. I played alto sax. So yeah, so my mom kept me busy in all kinds of activities,
Yeah.
So and I actually got back into football in college. I had a major injury in 2013.
Yeah.
I completely ruptured my Achilles tendon, and so I was out for months. And then once I came back, something just clicked, and I just started playing like all kind of sports again. Like I was playing dodgeball, kickball, and all that. And then when I was on the back end of recovery, that's actually how I met up with Coach Lane and got into flag football. And I say I get back into football because when I was at elementary, I think like 5th grade, 4th or 5th grade. The after school program I went to, it was called Inner City Ministries, part of Chattanooga Parks and Rec. We had this one of the leaders over recreation. He had a team. He would take us to different what's it called, rec centers throughout the city, and we would play against them in flag football. So I played flag football in 4th and 5th grade, and it was me and one other girl. And all I remember is we would just line up on the line, and our job was just go get the quarterback. And her name was Monica, and I was like, me and Monica, we would like give them the business, give them the work. Like after the game, the coaches would go up to our guys, be like, man, where you find these girls at? They grab both flags. Like we would have a flag in each hand. They're like, man, where you get these girls from? So when I got back, when I met Coach Lane and he's like playing flag football, I was trying to tap into that memory to see what I remember from it, to play with it. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into football. And then we'll have to fast forward years, but we can wait on that. But fast forward years, that's when I got into rugby. So running track since I was 5, got a scholarship to UAB, met up with Coach Lane, and been rocking with Alabama Fire ever since.
Gotcha. So you when you didn't tell me about rugby, where's that?
So that's later on. So okay, we could go get into it, but just a side note.
Yeah,
I remember that first year Alabama Fire had that team when we were in the WFA, and me and Chardonnay, we were at the All-Star game. And I just remember playing that game. First of all, Alabama Fire, I don't know if you remember, but that first season, because there's not a lot of film on it, but that first season, we really only had like 15 players. So we were playing both sides. And I remember one of the teams we played, they were like, ain't no way y'all putting up these numbers with these people. Cause like, our scores would be crazy, like 64-7, like 55, 3 or something like that. Like we were blowing teams out of the water. That one infamous game, we scored 98 points. We was trying to break the clock, but they would not let us do the extra point because there was no time left in the game. We really were trying to get 100. So the score ended up being 98-0. When I say everybody scored, everybody scored. But anyway, that year, a lot of us got nominated, but only like 2 of us went to the game to play, and that was me and Chardonnay. And I remember while we were up there, it was like odd to me, and I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to only get to play offense,
Yeah, play one side.
Yeah, and so that's when I got like 4 touchdowns, I think, or something like that. It was crazy. And I remember after the game, you were one of the people that came up to me. I was like, man, that was crazy. And then it was another coach that was on our sideline. He was like, or it might have been the head coach. He was a short black guy. I can't remember his name. I can't remember what team he coached for, but he was like, if I had an MVP trophy for All-Star, I'll give it to you. I was like, oh man, thanks. Yeah. But all right, so let's get into rugby, right? So I did long jump in college.
Yeah.
I was decent,
Obviously, you won some stuff, yeah.
Ranked for a little while in the nation, like top 30 or something like that. And so afterwards, now, mind you, I tore my Achilles. So when I came back, I felt like I still had a lot left that I could give, to the sport, to the team, for myself. And so once I graduated, I spoke with my coach, and me and one of my other teammates, we decided to continue training post-collegiately.
Yeah.
But what really like made us follow through was I took a trip to Rio. So I got to spectate at the 2016 Olympics. So I was in the arena when Bolt won his last 200 meter. I was in the arena when USA, the women, won the did the clean sweep of the hurdles. I was in the arena when USA went 1 and 2 in the women's long jump. So I was like, oh, this is dope. Like I could do this. And so I was talking to my teammate, and she was like, because I was trying to get her to do triple jump, because I was like, USA really don't have anybody right now. And she was good, like really good. And she was like, yeah, I do it, but what you doing? I was like, don't tempt me. So we came back, we talked to my coach, and we talked to her. We asked her, would she be willing to coach us, post-collegiate and train to compete professionally in the long and triple jump. She agreed, and so we started training. The Olympics was in August, and we started training that October. So we were training for that. So in the middle of training for that, it was like one day I came home for training. I'm scrolling the socials on Twitter, just hanging out, seeing what's going on. And I seen this post. It was like, "Are you the next Olympic hopeful?" In my mind, I was like, "Yeah, we training for long jump. Of course I am." So I didn't think nothing. I kept scrolling. So a couple of days went by, and I kept seeing it over and over and over. "Are you the next Olympic hopeful? You can be a part of the team." Now, mind you, at this time, I'm still heavily into track and field. So I'm thinking like, "Oh, I could be a part of the team using track and field and athletics. That's crazy." So I click on it and I read it. And it's like, "Yeah, give us your information." It's asked for certain information. And that's like, "And you could be part of the team." So I filled it out, but I was like, "This can't be real." So I'm thinking I fill it out. They send me a t-shirt, whatever. So then one day I actually look into the research. So what they were doing at the time, it was called scouting camp, next Olympic hopeful scouting camp. Are you the next Olympic hopeful? So what they did, they picked 4 of the lesser known Olympic sports. They picked bobsled, rugby, track cycling, and what was the last? Skeleton. They picked those 4. And so when I clicked on it to sign up for it, they were having tryouts, open tryouts for the team. And you could go to like a 24-hour fitness to try out. Well, they didn't have one. It's not one in Birmingham. The closest one was in Texas. So I just emailed somebody and I was like, "Well, I'm interested, but we don't have a 24-hour. And she's like, "Oh, that's fine. You don't have to be in person. You could just send in your results and you could still be considered." So I looked at all the things that they wanted. They wanted you to squat. You're supposed to squat like 3 times your body weight. That's what they wanted. They wanted your vertical, test your vertical, see what it was. They wanted a time 10-meter sprint, a time 40-meter sprint, and I think maybe one more thing. So what I did, I got my people. I actually got Chardonnay. We went to the gym. I was like, "Hey, record me doing this. So help me record this." So she recorded me doing the squats. We rigged up some kind of like tape measure or something to record my vertical, because I was like, "I don't even know how to do this." So I read the instructions, set it up, did that. Then I got another friend to go to the track, record me doing the 40-meter sprints and all that. And I sent it in. So we trying to upload the stuff before the deadline. I'm like, these videos not working. Fast forward like a day later, come to find out, I didn't even need the videos.
Why?
I didn't need the videos. All I had to do was just put in the results. But me personally, I'm glad I sent the videos in, because the numbers in my results, if you look at my demographics, like, they want your height, body weight, and all that stuff. If you look at that stuff compared to my numbers, you're like, ain't no way she doing this stuff. So I'm kind of glad I put in the videos.
Yeah.
And so I'm at a music festival. Fast forward, it's July 2017. I'm at a music festival, hanging out with my friends. We looking on our phones, trying to figure out what we're going to eat. And, at the top notification bar, mine was kind of full. So I was like, let me clear this stuff out. I see I got an email, and I open the email, and it says, "Congratulations, you are invited to try for the next Olympic hopeful in Colorado Springs." And I was like, "Oh, snap. Oh." So I'm telling my friends, I was like, "Y'all, look at this email, look at this." And so when I took a screenshot and they're reading it. So luckily for me, she kept reading all the way down. I stopped at "Congratulations, you're invited." And it said, "Do not post on social media until we make official release." So I was like, "Ooh, I'm glad you saw that. I'm glad you saw that, because I sure was about to post it." So I get invited. We go out to Colorado Springs at that Olympic Training Center. That's where the swimmers, basketball, and like gymnastics, all of them train. So we at that facility, and we there for a week. And it's a legit like reality TV game show type competition. And the grand prize is you get whatever sport you get picked for, you get to go train with them for 3 months, and you get $5,000. So I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So and to rewind, when I registered, it said pick 2 sports that you would like to try out for. Well, I had a track background, and I know from watching track, a lot of track athletes transition into bobsled because they like that explosion, that power you get off the push, to push the bobsled. So I picked bobsled. And then at the same time, we were playing football, and I had seen rugby on TV like twice before. I really didn't know what it was, but I seen it on TV because the year before they had just introduced it to the Olympics. So I was like, I mean, I think I could do rugby. So I picked rugby and bobsled. In the email, they said, you have been invited to try out for Team USA for rugby. And I was like, what? I don't even know what rugby is. But anyway, so I get the invite and I talked to my coach that I'm training long jump with. And I was like, you think I should go ahead and try out? And she was like, yeah, go try. You never know what happened. And I was like, okay. So they sent us a packet of the what you call it, like the test, the physical test that they're gonna have us do, like the shuttle runs, the weightlifting. Like we had to do squats, weighted pull-ups, and a whole bunch of like agility and like fitness tests. So they sent us that. And so my coach, we switched from long jump focus, or we might have did it like here and there. And she set up workouts for me to be like get physical, like condition fit. Cause rugby fitness, I'm gonna tell you, sevens, it's a different kind of fit than track and field. Yeah. Track and field, you run for what, 10 seconds and you're done.
It's over. Yeah.
Rugby, you go hard for 7 minutes straight, stop for 2 minutes, and then go 7 minutes again. Damn. So I was just like, so yeah, that's how. And so we there for a week. We do the test or whatever, and then at the end they pick the winner. So how it was, they picked 8 out of the it was 100 of us. Yeah, I think it was 100 people there. And out of 100, they're going to pick 8, 2 for each sport, a guy and a girl. So one guy for bobsled, one girl for bobsled, you know, and so on and so forth. One guy for rugby, one girl for rugby out of 100 people. So, but they broke it down where different color t-shirts. So I was in the rugby group and it was 12 girls and 12 guys. And so that's how each sport was split up. But out of everybody, like they picked, but in the end, they also picked some people like they were trying out for other sports that they thought would fit better in other sports. So like one guy, he started with us in rugby, but the bobsled people, they said they liked what they saw and they picked him.
Gotcha.
So that's how I got into rugby. I went out there not knowing a thing.
You're saying you got picked out of 100 women?
Out of 12, well, 100 people, but I was one of the 8 that they picked.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. It's a whole TV show. It's a whole TV show. You should watch it.
It's on
NBC. Yeah, NBC. Go to NBC Sports, and then on the Olympic tab, you can search in the Olympic tab and just put in next Olympic hopeful, and then it's on there. I'm the season 1 winner.
I'm not surprised, Kels.
And it was so fun because like I had to hold that secret in. Because, you know, we signed out that paperwork and stuff. So, like, it was a legit TV show. Like, we couldn't tell people that we won. We just had to help them. We just had to help them promote and, like, watch this TV show. And so what's crazy is parents know. Parents have this connection with their children. I'm convinced because so I'm there all week. And my mom calling me every day I'm out there. That's not... It's normal, but it's not normal for her to call me. I'm like, you gonna call me every day? She's like, yes, because I want to know how it's going. So the last day, and this is how we shoot it. Like the first day they had us shoot. That's like, okay, guys, we want y'all to cheer. We're gonna do the camera like woo woo. There's like, and we're gonna do another shoot where y'all just do the golf clap, woo, like that. So that was the first day. The last day, everybody finished our physical test. Well, rugby had the most tests we had to do. Everybody else, rugby started first and finished last. Everybody else were done like earlier or the day before. So there's like everybody come into the weight room and sit on the bleachers because we're going to announce the winners and they're going to record it. So we're sitting, that whole day was weird, right? So we go in the bleachers and I'm sitting down. Now this is the head coach of the women's national team. The head coach, he's sitting on the front row at the bottom. I go straight to the top. But one of the girls, like we've been, you know, working out and competing or whatever all week. She's like, you gonna sit over there? Come sit down here. And she was sitting by the coach. But when I moved, she moved away from him. So now I'm sitting between her and the coach. I really didn't want to sit by him. I was like, oh man. Cause I was just like, this gonna be weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting by the coach. So I sit down and he looked at me and he said, are you nervous? I was like, yeah. Now, mind you, this is before I knew I won. He was like, are you nervous? I was like, yeah, I am. I'm real nervous. So we sit there and they's like, all right, we're going to start calling out the names. I think they did rugby first. And I was just like, oh man. So now I'm getting nervous. it's like the winner for the women's rugby. And we had numbers on our shirts. Everybody went by a shirt, and it was like, athlete 626. I was like, and you just see me, I put my hand in my head. I was like, oh man, I won. And so I had to go up there and check, but I had to take my hat off because it wasn't Nike. I was like, it didn't even have a brand on it. But anyway, but yeah, so I won. It was crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that you won. I'm
Okay.
not trying to kiss your butt, but like I've been involved with women's football for probably about 8 years ish. I was the head coach of the Mile High Blaze for the first 4 years, and then I've been with the Denver Bandits for about 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
But like I said, me and you kind of we go back a while. Like that was at least 5 or 6 years ago. But in my opinion, I've seen a lot of good players. I've been a fan of the sport. I don't know if you know much about me, but like I'm a type of guy. I love football in general, right? Like
I could tell by your Facebook posts. Like you just like to be in it.
Yeah, for real. Like, so NFL, betting on sports, fantasy football, going to NFL games, all of that, right? So when I got into women's football, I wanted to educate myself.
Right.
I wanted to research the best teams, try to be like them. I wanted to, go watch the best players, see how teams operate, you know what I mean? So I can learn and just educate myself basically. So I would literally fly to California and watch San Diego Surge play Cali War in person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd fly to Chicago, watch Chicago Force play Boston Renegades in person. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always different instances where I'd go out of my way to go watch the top teams play each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so my point of that is that I've seen a lot of good players. I've seen great quarterbacks, great running backs, great receivers, just great athletes in general. And I would put you in a very unique class of like a freakish athlete.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to kiss your butt, but I'm just keeping it real. Like Kelli Smith don't grow on trees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so luckily Denver Bandits do have a couple really good athletes. And so I don't know if they're Kelli Smith level, but players, you actually might have met some of them at the WNFC weekend.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but really, they're really cool women. I enjoy coaching them, and ironically, we just had our exit meeting for the season, and we went over like combine times. I like the way that the Bandits do it because they'll have it like your 40 time, then your second 40 time, then your L cone, and then your 3 cone, right? And it's testing your speed and agility, see how quick you are and how fast you are. Then it all adds up to a composite number. It's like then they rank you from 1 to 50, whatever, right? I noticed was that we have about 7 or 8 players at the top that are pretty good athletes. Like they're either really fast or really quick or really fast for their size. And the rest of them are good athletes, but nothing like too exceptional, right? Like they're not bad. They're not going to be a weakness on the field. But I think the more players you can get in that top 7 or top 8 like that, comes for other teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to ask you in a little bit. I'm going to be nosy about Alabama Fire. But before we get into that, so based on what you said so far, the first thing I wanted to ask you about is when you went to Colorado Springs, did they pay for your travel and lodging?
Oh man, I felt like a superstar. Now, mind you, this was just like to try out for the TV show. Yeah. They sent the email and they said, call this number to let them know what day you want to arrive.
Yeah.
When I read it in the moment, I was like, okay. But now thinking about it, I'm like, why didn't I ask more questions? But literally all I did, I called that number like they said. This is when United was with Team USA. They're with American now. Yeah, they're with American Airlines now, but this one, they were United. I called the number and I told them what airport I was flying out of, and they gave me what times. And I said, what's the earliest time you have available? And they said, okay, you're all set. And they sent over the boarding pass and all that. And I was just like, wow. And yeah, we flew. I remember I flew from Birmingham into Denver, and then out of Denver to Colorado Springs. Now I will say that flight from Denver to Colorado Springs was like, oh wait a minute. There was a lot of turbulence going on.
Yeah.
But
That's
yes,
only an hour drive.
Yeah. But they flew us. So I was like, okay.
And they paid for all when you stayed there and stuff? It was all paid for?
We stayed in the
complex?
In the facility, like on the train at the training center, like in the dorms. And they had this house mother, she like a little grandma auntie, and she was talking. You'll see her on the TV show when you check it out. She was like, "Yeah, these are all my babies." And she told us, she was like, "Yeah, I was here when Michael Phelps was here. I took care of him. You ask him now, because I made sure he stayed in line."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So yeah, we stayed in the facilities on site.
Okay. And you said the show, I want to look it up and watch it. So is it MSNBC?
No, it's NBC.
Okay, NBC Sports.
Like the Peacock.
NBC Sports Olympic Hopeful.
Yes.
That's what it's called?
Yeah. Okay. That's it. So, well, you could just, so when you go to NBC Sports, it should be an Olympic tab. Click on that, and then type in next Olympic hopeful. Now, we'll say when I was season 1, I say it was season 1 because they had 2 seasons afterwards. So I guess, we did well. One guy that got picked for bobsled, he went on to win medals and everything in bobsled. And then the next year, they did a season 2. And then the year after they did 3. So I think they were trying to like get people in for like the upcoming Olympics, the Olympic cycle that we were in at the time. Okay. Yeah.
Nice. So my first question, I want to ask one question about your childhood before we move on to later in life.
Cool.
But, so you said you're from Tennessee.
Yes.
But you've been linked to Alabama for a minute now.
Yeah.
So like, I know they're right by each other, but like, is it because Birmingham is like upper Alabama, so it's close to Tennessee, or like, what is the reason? Did you relocate? Like, how did, you know what I'm saying?
That scholarship to UAB, to University of Alabama, Birmingham.
Gotcha.
That's how I got here. And so I made some good friends. I like the people here, my friends, the friends that I made here. And so I was here, and I actually had started working.
Yeah.
While I, and so I was like, okay, well, this is where I'll be for a minute until I decide to move somewhere else. Yeah.
All right. Then my question about your childhood is, I know that you said your parents got you into a lot of different like sports and, band and a whole bunch they kept you busy, right? Mm-hmm. From a young age. What else are you willing to share about your childhood? Like, did you have a traditional household, like?
Oh, no, it was not a traditional household. And I think about that often. Like at one point, it was 6 women in the house.
Dang.
6.
That's a lot.
But the unique part is it was 4 generations in the house. Okay. So it was my great grandma, my grandma, my mom, and me and my 2 sisters.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we were in there, It was not a traditional household. And my great grandma, she's actually the one, she just passed last year. I don't know if you've seen the post, but I made a post about it. Or if anybody followed me on Instagram, they knew that was that's who I would put on my Insta story. Right. I would come home and joke with her or mess with her while she in the garden.
I do remember that.
Yeah, so that was her. That was my great grandma.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, that was our household growing up for a while. It was crazy. 6 women, like when you think about that, you like, what?
Yeah.
And, here I am traipsing through life thinking, la, that's normal.
Yeah, but not normal at all.
Right. But no, that aspect was not normal. But other than that, I just feel like my mom definitely went by the African proverb that it takes a village to raise a child, because my village is very, very, very big. She's very big on using her resources and, wasn't ashamed to ask for help, when she needed it. So we would have people that pick us up. Me and my little sister, because we were close in age, we were 2 years apart. My older sister was already at the house at this time. But we have people that pick us up from church, take us to church on Sundays, people that pick us up, take us to summer camp, pick us up, drop us off. And I know I mentioned I ran track since I was 5.
Right.
I've had the same, but he's not my coach now, but he was my coach from when I was 5 all the way till I was like 13. But that's only because he coached like the 13 and under. And then after that, a different coach coached the older kids just because of the age group. I had the same coach, and shoot, for a little while there, folks thought that was my dad because he would pick me up so often or whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, but no, childhood was cool. Like I got exposed to a lot of extracurricular activities that people that look like me that don't usually get to do. Like I remember growing up, I got to go horseback riding, which is one of my favorite things to do. I don't do it often, but I enjoy it. I've got to go kayaking, learn how to kayak. You know, my arms been pretty cut for a minute, and I thought I was strong until I got in the kayak. And I was doing it all wrong. I was like, this water is not friendly at all. So I learned the technique. You can't stick it all the way in there try to pedal. You just got to do it a little bit, right? So I did kayaking. I got to camp for the first time. That was cool. You know, just having a whole bunch of like new experiences. Now, some of them, I feel like this should have happened sooner. Like I didn't ride my first plane until I got to college, which I feel like that was too late for me. In my book, that was too late. But you know, stuff like that, going to see the beach for the first time, you know, and so I feel like because she was big on the village, it takes a village to raise a child, that I was able to have those opportunities, you know, just to see stuff, to travel, you know, and do adventurous stuff.
Gotcha. So you have 2 sisters?
Yes.
Are they are they crazy athletes like you, or are they totally different?
You know, my older sister, she was more into the creative arts.
Yeah.
But she did play softball. But she was more into the arts. Like she liked to sing and do theater and stuff like that. But now, later on in life, her and her husband, they would go play racquetball, and we would play sports. Like they're very competitive now. They're very competitive. Like game night is like,
it's intense.
Hold on, don't come over here if you don't have thick skin, because it's like we trying to hurt your feelings so we can get in your head so we can win. You know. So the competition is still there. But she played softball, my older sister. But like I said, her and her husband, like we would go play kickball. Like it's to the point, like it's a family rule that me and my older sister cannot be on the same team when we play games, because they think we're cheating, especially when it's board games and stuff. Like when we play Taboo and all that, they were like, y'all two cannot be on the same team. Because we'll do our clues. Like if it's a word, I'm trying to give her a clue. I'm like, yesterday Granny said, and she'll get the word. And I'm like, okay, when Mama went to so-and-so, we got it. And so like we be winning like that. And they're like, that's not fair. That's not fair.
You're too
and my
locked
younger
in.
sister, she does sports as well. Not right now. I mean, she's back into it, but not like competitive like I am at the moment. But growing up, she played basketball. She actually been playing basketball like how I've been running track. Because I really didn't like basketball at first. I love it now, but at first I didn't like it. She played basketball, volleyball as well, but her thing was cross country and long distance. So she actually got a college scholarship to go run track and field, cross country, like long distance, like specialize in like the 1,500 and up. That was her thing. Or 800 and up. I'm sorry, 800 and up. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So you said you got involved with football because Coach Champion, that's his name, right? Champion Lane. He was he coaching flag or playing flag or both?
So how I got into it, mind you, I'm still in Birmingham at this time. It's the summertime. I'm just, I need something to do, need a couple bucks. So I was working as a summer camp. I was working as a summer camp counselor at the YMCA, at one of the YMCAs in Birmingham. And a lot of my coworkers were talking about watching flag football. One of the guys, he was like, yeah, I'm going to watch the women play. And I had been hearing them, but I didn't think nothing about it. So one day I asked them about it. I was like, yeah, you should come watch. So Birmingham had at the time, it had a women's flag football league, and they would play on Sundays. And
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, in like some of the local parks.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go watch this Sunday. So I went out there one Sunday and I was watching. And I'm sitting on their sideline. This is Coach Lane's team. And out of nowhere, I think one of my coworkers told her, they was like, hey, Lane, they said she run track at UAB. So I'm just sitting there going, I was like, yeah, I do, but I wasn't saying nothing. And so he's like, oh, okay, get a number. And I was making excuses. I was like, I don't know if I could play. Like, I still got eligibility. I gotta, like, I don't know how this would work. You know what I'm saying? Me playing. And Lane, he's so persistent. Like, he's like, that's all right. Still get a number. So I gave my number to one of the players. And next thing they was like, all right, we got practice at this time. So, and I was just telling somebody this story because it's crazy how I got into it. I showed up to practice. I go to a few practices, and they're like, hey, we got a tournament coming up in Atlanta on such and such day. It's like the summer. It's called the Fallen Warriors tournament. I don't know if they have it anymore, but it happened in during usually this month in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, we got a tournament coming up. Will you be able to go? And I was like, I'll see. And then eventually I was like, yeah, I can go. So we get to the tournament and we have this amazing player. She's a freak athlete too. She actually played basketball at Sanford, but she is a receiver, running back. Like, she's awesome athlete. Her name Jasmine Powers Carr. So she was like the starting running back and was playing. Well, during the tournament, she got hurt and couldn't play anymore. And so he looked at me and he said, all right, you're going to go in and do this play. Now, at the time, I think I was playing mainly defense or something. I didn't know any other plays. But he put me in and he was like, all right, this a play. You're going to run the play. And he gave the play a name. And I was like, I don't know what that is. He was like, just run left. So he was like, so-and-so going to block for you. You just run left. I said, okay. And it's been history ever since then. I got thrown in the fire. And ever since then, I've been playing with Coach Lane. And that whole tournament, it was crazy because I remember at one point after the game, I had a couple runs. We got, I get big chunks of yards. And so we're waiting for the next game in between because it's tournament play. And I'm sitting by the fence. I don't know how the guy missed me because at the time our uniforms was like highlighter yellow. So I don't know how he missed me. I'm sitting there and Coach Lane's sitting there and he came up with something. So he's like, yeah, hey man, that number 9 you got, because that was the jersey I had. You get the throwaway jerseys. Then nobody want number 9. So I had the number 9 jersey. And he was like, that number 9 you got, yeah, man. She just turned that corner a little bit sooner. She gets more yards on and just talking or whatever. And I'm just sitting over there like, okay. We're going to see. I was like, I'll try it again next game. Because like I said, our running back, she was down. But yeah, it's been history ever since. Been playing with him ever since.
That's a great origin story. Because
it's crazy.
Because it started with Kelly, run left. That's all he said. You know what I'm saying?
That's all he said. He said, so-and-so going to block for you. You just run behind them. Simple. I said, okay.
Yeah. And now you fast forward. I don't know how many years ago that was. You fast forward to now, and you're one of the best running backs in the nation, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's wild to think about that.
That's crazy. I want to, because some people come up to ask me, like, if I knew I would help them, I promise you, because it's like, sure, yeah, we need more little razzle dazzle, because I like to do little footwork, make people look goofy sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I can't help them that much because it just happened. Like, I can't explain it. Like, when he said run and run behind them and they're blocking for me. So I was like, well, let me, get behind them, do some footwork, set them up so they can help me. Right. So it literally was just all natural. Like, I didn't practice it. I didn't practice it at all. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to keep going with that. And then same thing, it just transitioned to rugby. Like, I do the same thing in rugby. And then coming back to football from rugby, I feel like rugby helped me with football because, I don't have anybody to block for me in rugby. So I had to make my own way. Right. So I feel like in football, if I get stranded, I know how to like get out of it. Or, that's probably why teams bring 7 people to tackle me. I'm just like, can y'all leave me alone?
No.
So, yeah.
That reminds me of when I was in the WFA, I was selected to be the head coach of the All-American game. And I was preparing. I was, like All-American games are kind of like herding cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always random players coming, you know what I'm saying, from different places. And you're trying to like play decent football, but you have like only 2 practices to get it done. And
Right.
It's a bit of a shit show. But anyways, I remember this. I don't know why I remember this, but I started a Facebook group, right, of all the players, so we could communicate. I could put out the playbook or whatever I needed to. And I remember going in that group when I started scouting who we're going to play against, right? And I was like, all right, so the East usually wins this game, but I'm going to try to put forth a better effort than West usually has. When I scouted your team, I was like, Kelli Smith is a problem. Rashawn Gore is a problem. So I told the team, I said, listen, they have two players that are really good.
Yeah.
So if we can slow down Kelli Smith and Rashawn Gore, we have a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
So a player responds to that post by me, and it was some chick that played line for Callie Ward. And her response was something like, nah, F that. We got good players. You know what I'm saying? Just like saying I
feel like I know what player you talking about from Callie Ward, because you know me and Jenkins went and played for them that next year.
I remember that. So I was annoyed by that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm trying to help us prepare. And I'm not going to blow smoke. You know what I mean? Like I have no reason to puff up a player for no reason. So I was just trying to get us prepared mentally for certain players, and they just like brush it off. Like, no, we got good players. Like F that. And I'm like, okay. And then you scored 4 touchdowns.
And then you looked. I was like, I told you.
And listen, you can only lead a horse to water. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's crazy, because I remember that game, and I think some pictures had came up on my phone from like a memory or something. And you see it's like a photo where me and Rashawn Gore taking a knee on the sideline. Because, in that game, she played quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because I'm like, but you in Texas running the ball now. Because I just knew when she went to Texas, I was like, okay, she back up QB. And when we played against her, she running the ball. I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. She's good. She's a good all-around athlete. I mean, she's a good, she's a good like dual threat quarterback. She can play running back. She can play receiver. She can play DB. She can do a lot. You know what I'm saying? And so with Texas having that big line and knowing what they're doing, they're mostly Team USA players. There's big holes to run through. You know what I mean? So it makes her look like, she's good regardless, but it obviously is easier when there's big holes. But yeah, that's the way that went. So next, that's a good segue. So I want to talk to you about playing for Callie Ward, because you played for Alabama Fire, which was in the WFA.
Yeah.
Alabama Fire eventually joined the WNFC, but there was a break. I don't know if you played every year or if you took a break, but I remember the year you were on Callie's team, because I remember hearing about it and I was annoyed by it, because I'm like, that's the last thing Callie needs is Kelli Smith. You know what I mean? Like they're already a really good team. You know what I'm saying? Like the rich get richer. So I want to talk to you about that, because as you know, Callie Ward is usually a good team in the West, D1. The CEO of the league owns the team and is playing on the team. Other CEO of the league is a head coach. And so I'm just curious, how was that experience for you? Especially when you compare it to your Alabama, teams. Way different or?
So I'm not gonna say everybody, and some people know that play with me in flag. I play defense too.
Yeah.
And I like defense. Now I'm not saying I do get a joy out of running around and running around people. You know what I'm saying? But I like defense, and then rugby has only made my love for defense get better because I get to hit people. But at Callie Ward, I was mostly defense. Like I would literally play DB. And that was cool, because I was like, okay, I'm only playing one side of the ball. Every now and then they would put me in and run the ball. But while I was at Callie Ward, they had Alexis and they had Destiny Yarbrough as running back.
Snyder and Yarbrough.
Yeah, and so they didn't really need me for real, in that position. So I played cornerback. And I really liked it. I think my breakout game for them was the first game I got to play. I was at the Vegas game, but I couldn't play at the time because I was injured from my long jump training. But my breakout game was against the Surge. And you know how you say you go watch them play against Callie Ward. So No, they giving me and Chardonnay the rundown how they rivals and they always, go back and forth. Well, at this time when we played them, the Surge had never lost at home. And they had this one receiver. I don't remember her name, but she was tall, light-skinned, curly hair. And she was their number one receiver. They threw to her all the time. And Jeff, he coach, he put me out there. He's like, yeah, you're gonna go on her, she's number one receiver. And in my mind, I'm like,
was she Casey Clark?
I'm not sure. I really can't remember her name. If you show me what she looked like, I can be like, that's her, but I can't remember her name.
Okay, go ahead.
And so he was like, you guard her. And it was like, yeah, that's a number one receiver. They like to throw to her a lot. And in my mind, I'm like, y'all really trust me to do this? You got people that's been playing for you, Jeff. You gonna put me on her? And in my mind, I was like, I really ain't played this position a lot, but I know how I'm gonna play it. Or I'm like, this how they do it on TV, so this how I'm gonna do it. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm a jammer. I'm gonna get up in the face. I'm not gonna do all that backpedaling stuff because I feel like I get beat, even though I probably can recover fast. So I was like, I'm a jammer. So we playing. They don't throw it to her a couple times. So the first time I jammed. I was like, okay, let me stop playing with her because she didn't get off the line because she knew she wouldn't get the ball. The first time I just jammed her like real hard in her chest and she fell backwards. And I went and it was a stay route. And I jammed and she fell backwards. And I quick looked at the QB and I looked, the ball coming at me. So boom, catch it, go. Yeah. Pick 6. I said, oh yeah, I like this. Oh yeah. So in that game, I think I ended up getting 3 or 4 pick 6. Like one was like right before halftime, 98 yards, took it back for a pick 6. And somebody was in the stands and they were like, who is that? Who is that? Did they try out for Team USA? Because at that time, Team USA trials was in January. And I did try out. Thought I was gonna make it because that previous WFA season, I was rookie of the year, had the most rushing yards. I was like, surely they'll pick me.
Right.
They did not. They did not. I didn't even. So then I'm scrolling. I was like, well, maybe I'm on the alternate list. I didn't even make the alternate list. I said, wow. So at this game with Kelli Ward, they was like, who is that? Did you try out? I looked at it. I said, who asked you that? Did I try out? Of course I tried out. Y'all missed me. Nah, don't come now. Leave me alone.
Yeah. You had your chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But my experience with Kelli Ward, it was dope because I got to play defense. Sometimes but I played special teams and we had this one player, her name's Star Brown. She played linebacker. And me and Jenkins talk about this. Chardonnay, we talk about this all the time. Like I remember it was one play, I'm running the ball. She wore this red long sleeves under every jersey. This red long sleeve t-shirt, like regular t-shirt. And I remember it was like punt return or something. I'm running and out the corner of my eye, all I see is red just flash in front of me. He hit somebody. So I run that way. Then I see red flash, go this way, hit somebody. I go that way. And I looked at her, I said, and they finally like tackled me or whatever. I said, man, did you just hit like 6 people? She was like, yeah. I was like, you crazy. She was like, no, I love it. She's like, I love playing with you. She's like, high risk, high reward. I can risk it because I know you going to give me something. I was like, yes, I love it. I love it. So, yeah, I had a fun experience with Kelli Ward. So, and I really, mainly I was used as on defense and special teams out there. So that was good. That was a good experience for me.
Gotcha. That was just 1 year you played for them, right?
Yeah, I just played 1 year for them. And then after that, rugby took over.
Gotcha.
So I stepped away for a while because one of the coaches in the WNFC, can't remember what coaches it was, but we played against them. It might have been Mississippi. I can't remember, but it was like one of our early games. And it was like, yeah, I remember, man. We in the game and you just running around. I looked at them. I said, who is that? Because they was like, we studied Alabama Fire. We prepared for them. We did this. And we was like, where does number 7 come from? They ain't been on film. So, because I had been away playing rugby. So I guess the film they seen was from the 2019 season when I was away playing. Yeah. So they were like, who is this? So I surprised them back in the WNFC. But look, people like you already knew what was up. You was like, oh yeah, I already know.
I've been knowing, yeah. You can't get that past me. So there's a player, I hope she listens to this podcast. Her name's Megan Lewis. And she plays or she has played running back for Denver Bandits. and she didn't start playing until a couple years ago. So she's pretty new to the sport.
Yeah.
But she's like you. She's a really good athlete, track background, just naturally good. You know what I mean? Knows how to make people miss, and has a lot of good natural speed. She can, take it the distance at any moment. One thing that she lacks that you don't lack, that I've noticed, is when I watch you on film, you're obviously fast and quick, and you have good instincts on how to make people miss, and you can run through tackles. But what I notice is you're on film, especially, your shoulders look broad, right? So it looks like you're kind of top heavy. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good thing, because if you're too thin, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have broad shoulders like this, then when you're running, it's kind of like you don't have as much natural. It's hard to put into words, but like, if you're running and you're not too top heavy, that you look like a cartoon, but you have like some decent, you know what I'm saying, some girth up here, then when you're stiff arming somebody or you're whatever, like it's the right mixture, right? Of like upper body strength and lower body strength, to where you're dynamic and you don't really have a weakness. With Megan, she doesn't have as much broadness up here. And so it limits her, right? So now maybe she doesn't run through a tackle, or maybe she, you know what I mean? Like whatever. And she's Megan Lewis, you're Kelli Smith. You know what I mean? That's cool.
Right.
Arkansas, you're two different women. But I like daydream sometimes. I'm like, man, if Megan just put a full off season into her upper body, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And connected the dots. I mean, she's already a good running. She was already like 6th in the league, and we had a multi running back system.
Right.
So like just the potential blows my mind. So you're the most obvious, like when I'm trying to talk to her or like say, okay, this you're doing good at all these things.
Yeah.
This is what you can do better at, right? So this year I told her, I feel like you're a little bit too easy to tackle, and when people would hit you, you'd fall down. Instead of keeping your feet and keep it, you know what I mean? Like just balance stuff, Alvin Kamara type stuff. And so there's things you can do to kind of add to your
game.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And
that was my mentality early on. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. I just felt, I was like, I want to be the one where, although you're touching me, you made contact with me. That's not enough.
Right.
Like that's been. I want you to work for this. Like, and also I want to fight through it to show you, like, yeah, you could do that all you want, but guess what? I eat those,
Right.
And then going to rugby, that only helped. It only helped because you can fight through tackles and stuff all day, and I don't even have equipment on doing that. Right. So that helped. I think that helped too, and that's why, because I joked with my team this season, and I noticed, like, I ain't really noticed before, but I was like, have y'all noticed every time I'm getting up, it's like 4 or 5 people peeling off of me, like that many people was like, what is this? Because we some of us solo tackling and all that. I'm like, why I gotta wait for all these people to get off of me? Right. So yeah, I just fight through it. I just love that. I don't know. I just had that mentality, like, I just want to fight through this, like push through it, or let you know, like, yeah, you coming, but you got to bring friends to get me. You know? Yeah.
I remember I was my favorite football player of all time is Barry Sanders. And I remember like listening to interviews and people talking about him and interviewing him himself. And they said, I remember this one interview, they said, when he's running the ball and he sees a defender in front of him, he like looks at the next defender, because the first defender doesn't have a chance to tackle him.
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to start, I'm gonna have to start doing that, because I don't look at the next defender, but what I'm thinking about is, so it's in both rugby and football. But so for football, most of the time I have a fullback or somebody in front of me. So when I see the defender coming, my thought is, how can I set them up for this pancake block? So I'm running on the hip, and what I do is I give a little peek my little shoulder out, and the defender always change their angle because they think I'm coming out and they can hit me on that angle, and then I cut back in and boom, pull back, smack them. They out the way. So now I just got to deal with the next person that's like in the open field. That's even worse for them, because now I'm thinking like, what dance move do I want to put on them now?
Yeah,
You know, like what
yeah,
footwork I want to put on them. And that's mostly in rugby. So when I'm running, I see the defender, I do it like a hesitation move, or I'll just do like a shake move and go. So yeah, I just think about the footwork and what all I can do. My next goal is I want to try to bring a spin move into rugby. I did a spin move a couple of times in football, but I haven't did a spin move in rugby. So I want to see
yeah.
where I can put that in.
I'm telling you right now, Megan Lewis for Denver, she had at least twice this year. This season just ended.
Uh-huh.
She had a hesitation move.
Uh-huh.
Nasty.
I'm telling you.
Like imagine she's running to the left and there's a defender right in front of her, and she
Uh-huh.
real quick, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then she accelerates and beats her to the edge.
I'm telling you, it's so disrespectful. I love it. I love it. It's so disrespectful. I love it because it's like, let me slow up. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I love it.
I love watching it. All right, so I only have a few things left before I let you go. I appreciate your time. Next one I wanted to cover was injury prevention. So one thing that frustrates me with women's football is I feel like there's more injuries that happen than should. And I feel like some of it's neck stuff, knee stuff. And so when I talked to the Chicago Force coach, he said that if he was still coaching, he would do specific training to strengthen those muscles that don't naturally happen, right? So I'm curious for you, Kelli, since you have a background with rugby, which is kind of similar to football in some ways, but it's with less pads. Do you feel like that's helped you like avoid injuries because your body's more like used to the wear and tear, or how would you know what I'm saying?
I think that's part of it, but also rugby has a certain technique where you have to tackle. You can't just go in and just shoulder check somebody or go head first. There's rules. So like you have to tackle low. You have to tackle low, and you can't pick people up and dump them like a roll. Their feet becomes parallel with the ground. You like get carded for that, a yellow card and thing. So it's safety rules, and then also like you just approach the same way in football. And for me personally in football, at least this is how I think when I'm playing. I go down on my own terms. And like we were talking about, like somebody touched me, I'm not going to fall down. Like I'll fight through the contact, but then if I see it's like 4 or 5 of y'all, I literally stop and put myself on the ground, like or fall in the direction that I want to fall. Yeah, you tackle me, but I'm gonna fall this way, you know. So I like kind of control that, and I feel like that's helped me some. Now it's been a few instances where they done ball me up like a little prep. So I'll be like, hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. But for the most part, I kind of like dictate where I want to fall, how I want to fall, you know.
I'm curious. You seem like a really cool person and a good competitor. Yeah, I think you are. That's my opinion. So how often have people been able to get under your skin? Like where you played football pissed off, you know what I mean? Like never, or
I really don't think I've tapped into like I'll get into it like, oh no, now I gotta embarrass you type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody say something, like, oh yeah, now I gotta embarrass. Now I gotta embarrass. I play on that, but I don't think I've played like upset. Or maybe I have. Maybe it's all the same. Like, oh, I'm upset because now you feel like we're not even good enough to play with you. Oh yeah, nah. We finna embarrass you. Got to. Have to. And then like some stuff it might seem like overkill. And I don't really talk too much on the field. I just,
it doesn't seem like you do.
Yeah. Every now and then I might say something, or if I just feel like they just been talking too much to my teammates the whole time, like I'll say something then. Like I remember we played a game. I ain't gonna name the team. We played a game. They had an issue with the lights and they were doing all this extra stuff and, you know, talking like, and they went to us, they asked us, what do y'all want to do? Do y'all want to play or stay? And we were like, and we talked to the quarterback and we was like, well, whatever our quarterback decide, we go with her. And they was like, well, look, it's only going to get darker. And if we start, we can't just be like, oh, never mind, we won't want to play. So let's just say we're going home, you know, to be safe. Well, they was like, give up 15 minutes, we'll turn the lights on. And they was talking all this junk because it was a decent game. They were playing pretty good. They were playing us pretty close. And Alabama Fire at the time we were known like to be ahead. They were playing close, so they all excited. Well, that game, I don't know what happened because I really was tired. But that game, I don't know. From as soon as they turned them lights on, it was over. It was game time. Running. I think I scored like 6 more touchdowns after that because I was just like, yeah, no. And then I remember at one point, I was like a pinball. Like they were making contact with me, but not bringing me down. And I remember I had put my hand down at one point and like kind of almost crawled into the end zone. And when I got into the end zone, I was just like, just get off of me. Get off me. And then just had to let them know. They were so upset. It was like, yeah, she has no class. Yuck. I was like, y'all did it. And I was just like, y'all can't hold me. Y'all cannot. Just every now and then. So every now and then it come out. And I feel like I have to know because I'm like, I've been quiet too long. Y'all not finna keep disrespecting me like this.
I respect that. I want to talk about Coach Champion. I want to talk about running the score up.
Okay.
I want to talk about Alabama Fire this year. I want to talk about you playing Atlanta and Texas. And I want to talk about championship weekend because you just did that. So let's start with Coach Champion. I don't know him. One of your other coaches said that he might not be a great interview because he's kind of guarded if he doesn't know you. But I mean, from what I know, he's a good coach. So what would you say about, because I mean, he's been kind of coaching you the whole time. So you feel like
what I will say is he's a mastermind at looking at people or like putting them. So pretty much you just like go out there and play. And then next thing you know, he'll put the people in the right position to succeed. Like, it was like, how did you know that they'll be good at this? How did you know they'll be good at this position? Like, we had one player, she was frustrated in the position she was playing, but she was an all-star. So I was like, hey, you know what he's talking about. He must know something. So yeah, he's very good at that, at getting people to use their full potential, in the position. Like he knows how to like, okay, where they can succeed, put them in this spot, So yeah, he's good at that.
Something you said earlier, I couldn't agree with more. When you said you'd like to help more people, like running backs, if they ask you for advice or how to get better and stuff, I couldn't agree with you more because I'm a decent athlete. And when I used to play running back, I played quarterback and receiver mostly. But when I tried running back, I remember doing really well, but then I fumbled the ball, so they took me out. But I remember when I was playing running back, I was running the ball and making people miss, and it was a feeling. Nobody had taught me how to do it. You know what I'm saying? There was no like, oh, do this and then do this. It was just a feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like
you just be in it and you just know you're like, oh, there's a space. Let me run to that space.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can feel their leverage coming to one side, so you know to cut back. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like a Matrix thing. You know what I mean? Like that movie Matrix.
Right. It's like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Like, because it's so many plays where I'm just running and trying to get there. And I hear, like, if we're going outside, I hear my teammates like, ooh, and I'm like, dang, I'm missing it because I'm running. So I come back, they're like, or they'll talk to somebody. They're like, yeah, I have to do that girl like that. I'm like, what'd she do?
You're like, what'd I do? I'm going to watch it later. What is your opinion about running the score up? So from what I know about Alabama, you guys have been a good team. Even when you had low numbers, you were a good team this year. You almost beat Texas, which that's never happened before. But, and don't take this the wrong way, but you guys are known as a team that will run the score. I mean, you'll score as much as you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So since that is the case, what is your 2 cents about that? Do you think that could be taken the wrong way? Do you think it could be disrespectful? Do you think F it? If you can't stop me, you can't stop me? Like, what is your 2 cents on that?
So with the most recent example of that was, of course, everybody know against Florida, 70-7.
Yeah.
We went into the mindset we had to try to give ourselves a chance to get in the playoffs. Gotcha. Like based off like the points and all that was going. Like, no, we have to like sweep the floor with these people, take the trash out, do all the extra stuff so that we can get more games, So like we felt like we had to do that. in that instance. Now the other instances, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's just playing. They don't think none of it. And I think this for me personally. I can't speak for coaches call with my other teammates, but I feel like my teammates will be with me on this.
Yeah.
It's so much trash talk that's going on the field. So we finna keep giving it to you.
Yeah.
We finna keep giving it to you. We finna keep letting him call these plays. And you finna have to stop it again. And stop it again until we take all your willpower and you just don't even want to be out here no more. You know?
I would say when I was a head coach, I'm a perfectionist, right? So like if we beat a team 52-0, but they got to the red zone and they're a horrible team, they're like this team that shouldn't even be past the 50.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm focused on how the hell do we let them in the red zone? They didn't score, but it's just the point. They got that close. It's unacceptable.
And that's another reason I was thinking too. I was like, maybe coach does it so we can get the reps. You know, get the practice, get the scenario situations, like based on plays that they run. So next time somebody run a play similar, we'll know how to be in position or how to play, something like that. So that could be a reason too. But I know for me personally, if you were talking all that cash money, talking about how you was gonna stop this and stop that, and you look at the scoreboard. Now I got some teammates that'll say, I look at the scoreboard now. I'm like, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna keep running right past you.
Yeah.
So. But no, that Florida game, that was definitely, we felt like we had to, like, it has to be an outrageous score for us to even, like, be considered because of our record, So.
I remember the only time when I coached, I intentionally tried to run the score up was when the other team was playing dirty. So we were up by a lot at halftime, but they were taking cheap shots, you know what I'm saying, trying to, like, hit us in the head or go for our knees and stuff. And I'm like, if you're going to try to hurt my players, I got no mercy for you.
Yeah. So like with the whole running the score up, I feel like, different instances, you got different reasonings for it, and
case by case.
Case by case. And the team that's like getting done like that, personally, I don't even know like how to feel in that situation, but I feel like our team, if the other team was running the score up on us, we would still go out there like, all right, well, this play, we finna get you. Like, just keep trying. So I don't know how other teams take it. I know some teams will probably take like, bro, y'all don't have to do all that. But I feel like Alabama Fire, we have the attitude that's like, okay, yeah, we losing, but we finna stop you on this play. Or at least we finna get one good highlight out of this game,
We're going to get something.
We leaving here with something. We leaving here with something.
Yeah, one way or another. All right, so that's a good segue into Atlanta. You played Atlanta 3 times this season.
Right.
7-0, 29-0, I think, if I remember correctly, and then 7-0 overtime in the playoffs. So playing the same team.
That one hurt. Hurt.
I know. I don't mean to bring it up, but it did happen. So what would you say? Would you say that Atlanta just has your number? Would you say, you know what I'm saying? Like, how would you attribute that to? Because it's hard to beat a good team 3 times. And they did that.
It is. And so going into the playoffs, because my high school basketball coach used to tell us that. She's like, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. So I was going into it. I was just hoping. I was just like, I'm hoping Coach Jackson is really, it's true right now. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. The first Atlanta game, I was coming from Connecticut, so I didn't get to spend much time with the team before then. But, that was our first game. So, and there was a lot of people that's new. Like, this is not an excuse, but I'm just saying, like, this is how the team was. Like, it's a lot of people that's new. They were unsure. I know I had some teammates, they said they didn't really put it all together, what they had been doing in practice until second half. But it was like, oh, do this works, this doesn't, like that. But I think it was just a lot of newness. Of course, we had a different roster than what we had the year before. So we was working with that. But I think a lot of people, I don't know what happened that first game. I think it was just a lot. They thought like, oh, we can ride off next season, and like nobody was going to come for us, and we were proven wrong. Because I know I was getting frustrated because I'm like, why are these people touching me? I'm not used to this many people holding me and like turn me loose. Get off of me. But
what about the second game? Second game was worse.
Yeah, so second game was worse. So I didn't play that game. I was not at that game. So I don't know what happened during that game. And I actually tuned into it it was late. I think when I watched, the score was like 12-0, and I think I had to do like an assignment or something, so I had to click off of it. And when I looked at the results, I think it's like 29-0. I was like, what happened? You know? So, and I will say, like, our defense this season has really helped us a lot, because our offense was stagnant more than I would like, you know.
Yeah.
But our defense really like held up and kept us in a lot of games.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I wasn't at that second game, but the third game, oh, man, we just the penalties killed us.
Right.
The penalties and the turnovers killed us. And me personally, I know you don't know, not supposed to rein the refs and all that stuff. In that game, I felt like the refs weren't consistent. And based on what I was saying before, like, my issue I had with the refs was the play after. They would let their play, when they had the ball, they would let the play continue like long after. When we had the ball, they blow the play dead like almost immediately. And I'm just like, can y'all be consistent in the play after? And also, because I remember one time in that game, I played both ways a lot of minutes. Like, I came out the field maybe 3 times.
Right.
And I remember one play, one teammate hit the Atlanta player, and then another teammate hit her. So now they holding her up, you know, and stopping her. She's not going anywhere. But by this time, 4 more Atlanta players then came to the pile, and they're pushing her forward. In my mind, I'm like, first of all, that's how people get hurt. Second of all, her forward progress had already stopped.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, now, and I wholeheartedly in that game, partly because I was tired, but I was like, if it was me, I feel like I would have been blew the whistle. If I was trying to go forward, I feel like y'all would have been blew the whistle, said my forward progress has stopped. I can't fight anymore and all that stuff. But yeah, that was at the end of the game, when they lined up for that field goal, I was just like, dang, man, they finna beat us with a field goal. And then he lined us up in a certain way. And he was like, yeah, you go. I never really go in the middle on a field goal. I'm always hanging out on the outside, hoping like one day I can get back there fast enough. Yeah. So that one play, and our rookie, the linebacker, number 14, Carrie Isom, I didn't even see her lining up by me. I don't know where she came from, but I know I lined up next to, like, in a B gap or something. I looked at my players. They usually, like, I said, can I go through here? And they was like, yeah, they feet not touching and all that stuff. I was like, okay, cool. So I remembered, hiked the ball, and I, like, turned, and I got skinny, and I was going through, but I was falling. I was like, dang, I ain't gonna get there fast enough. All I remember seeing is a jersey just sweep past me, and she blocked it. And I was like, oh! But yeah, man, that game, it was something else. And I will say, I got that first down in overtime. They cheated me in that one, but you know,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Would you say that the vibe between you and Atlanta is like there's a healthy respect, or it's like we don't like each other? Like,
it's a healthy respect, but I will say that the team last year did a complete 180 that next season. So, you know, I think people was like, oh, that team, they ain't win, but how many ever won they won the year before? And I was like, this is a different team. They got something to prove. You know, this is a different team. They have something to prove. But I think it's a healthy respect. Like, people know, they know who to look for and all that, because it's a few players, they be like, yeah, you already know when we play y'all, we looking for you, and we looking for number 2. We like, where they at? We got to deal with them. We deal with them, they'll be okay.
So for Atlanta, the last part of that thing is, what I've heard is there's been like players that have went from Alabama to Atlanta and vice versa.
That's correct.
I don't know if it's a proximity thing, or, you know, I don't know why, but it seems like it happens, right? Both sides.
Yeah.
So how does that factor into the rivalry? You know what I'm saying? Does it like add a little bit of spice to it? Familiar faces, like, it
does. It presents its own challenges. But you said you don't know Coach Lane, but, you know, he's very confident in the talent he puts on the field. Like, sometimes if we don't have enough people, he's like, we're gonna play with who we got. We gonna show it with who we got, and we're gonna play hard. And so it presents its challenges, but what we do is we just say, you know, yeah, you might know what we're about to do because you played with us or you know the plays, but can you stop it?
Can you stop it? Yeah.
Can you stop it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can know it all day, but can you stop it?
Right.
If the answer is no, guess what? We finna keep running this sweep left and this sweep right all day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I respect it. All right. Last question, Kels. Texas. So, as you know, you guys came this close to being
Man,
the first team to ever beat Texas in the WNFC. As we know, there was a fake field goal. I don't know if it was called by the coaching staff or not, but it didn't go well.
listen, I don't know who called it or what happened or what they saw. All I know is I was on the. Okay, I was on the sideline fighting for oxygen. So, and I looked up and I was like, "What's happening? What's happening?" But yeah, that's crazy. But finish. What was your question?
Yeah, so the final score was 21-20. Texas beat you guys. If I counted correctly, Kelly, you guys had less than 30 players at that game. So less than 30 Alabama players played Texas to a 1-point game. I watched almost the whole game because I was intrigued, of course.
Yeah.
I remember there's this one play where it was 4th and long, and you guys went for it. And all you called was a basic ass run, Kelli Smith to the right. Simple, right? I guess Texas picked the wrong gap to blitz. And it was like you were shot out of a cannon. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you were gonzo.
Yeah.
And that was so fun to watch. But the game was crazy. I tell people there's 2 ways to look at that game. First way to look at it is Texas didn't take you guys seriously. They didn't think you were a threat. So maybe they sat some players that were kind of dinged up, you know, didn't play all their players, or they didn't play through injuries, or maybe they didn't travel, whatever. Other way to look at it is Alabama's good. They can play with anybody, even though they got lower numbers, and you should give them respect. And I was rooting for you guys to play Texas in the playoffs, but I think it's kind of suspicious that you guys went from not being in the playoffs to number 3. You can take that for what it's worth, but that's the way it went. You know what I'm saying? And so you guys were matched up with Atlanta, who's already beaten you twice, instead of Texas, which is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a rematch. It is what it is. Things played out the way they played out. But what is the last question of the day is just that Texas game. How was that for you? Like, was it obviously frustrating to lose, but like, what is your take on the game? How was it to play in it? I know you played a lot of both ways, but how was it through your eyes?
How was it to play? Of course, Texas scored first.
Yep.
And then we came down and we ran a play and our tight end scored. So I didn't score first for us. Our tight end scored, and then it's a tie game. So I'm like, okay, we're back in this game.
Yeah.
Then they scored again.
Yeah.
And I'll rewind to the year before in the playoffs when we played them, and we were the first team to score on them in 2 years. I remember early on in the game, we ran a run play, and I was running. I got all these yards, and I was trying to transfer the ball because somebody was coming from this way, whatever. And somebody knocked it out, so I ended up fumbling, and they recovered it. So I was upset about that, but I went to the sideline, and I was thinking, I was just like, if they let me get that many yards, I was like, yeah, I'm scoring tonight. Yeah. I'm scoring. And then, so sure enough, later on in the game, ran and we scored. So fast forward to this game, I have that in my head. So I'm like, man, if we just keep running, you know, they'll get tired or something, and we'll be able to do what we do and run.
Just a matter of time,
just a matter of time. Yeah. And that play that you were talking about, I didn't realize it was 4th until I went back and watched the clip, and I'm listening to the commentator. I was like, yo, it was like 4th and 3 or something like that. And I was just like, yo, that's crazy. And if I went back and looked at it, they had 2 that came down and blitz one. And actually they had 2 linebackers. One was actually lined up correctly to make the play, but at the last minute, she shifted over. And so, and then my fullback came, and I remember the play. We ran through the hole, and all I remember is I just seen my teammate just went flying backwards. And I was like, dang. And I'm running through the hole like down like this. And I get to the second level, and I realized, I was like, they really finna let me run. They really finna let me run.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I go back and look, and I told my fullback, I said, hey, you took that lick. I appreciate it. Because they were coming down hard. They came down hard. I don't know if they thought she actually was going to get the ball or what, but they hit her like she had the ball.
Right.
And I was free. And I was just like, that's crazy. So that game was fun. And then, like I said, we was like, just keep running. And Texas is very disciplined. They're used to playing with people in the first half, or like people being in the game, but then the second half, their opponents used to like collapse or something happen, and then they just pull away. Right. So at this point, it's a 14-21? Yeah. I think it's 14-21 or something like that. So or either it's tied. I'm not sure. But I know at that halftime, we was like, stay disciplined, like just play our game. Just play our game. And because we're in the game with these people. So he's like, just play our game. And so we did that. And when I scored that last touchdown, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, this is crazy. And what's crazy is we asked the line. We said, what do y'all see? Like, what's open? And some of them, they was like, just run behind us, run this side, just run a sweep. It's open. Because he was going to do I think it was either that or like a pass play or something. And he was like, but what y'all see? And we told him, he's like, all right, well, look, you got to score. And that's like one of the first times I actually felt like, oh man, like I actually got us there, you know? So I was like, okay, we're going to do it.
And it worked out.
Ran it. And I didn't even get touched. I went into the end zone untouched. I said, wow, we did it. We did it. That's crazy. But yeah, no, it was actually fun playing that game because I think the Alabama Fire, we all had that mentality. It was like, let's show them we can play with them. Like, that's how we went into it. It was like, let's show them we can play with them. Yeah, they probably looking at our sideline like we only got 3 people, but let's show them we can play with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was fun.
That was a historic game. My last question before you go is Mary Woodard. I don't know who Mary Woodard is. Never seen her in my life.
But y'all finding out. Y'all finding out.
So where did she come from? And like has she been playing before now? Because I've never heard of her.
No, Mary was playing softball. Mary's playing softball, and she said one day she just needed something to do, and she found us. She Googled and found us. She's like, football, love football, because her family is big Eagles fan. They her brother played football. He's actually overseas playing football now. So she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try it. And actually, her first season, she played defense. She was defensive player. Okay. And so, and y'all see her on the field playing defense now. But this year, our top receiver was out for injury. So we was like, all right, well, we finna throw to Mary. Mary learned how to catch in like 2 months.
Yeah.
And she was she just blazing up the league, right? Dang. She worked on it like 2 months, real short. She had real short turnaround. And so look, you don't know who Mary Woodard is, but you gonna know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know now, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, I appreciate your time, Kelli.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, like I said, I've known of you for a long time, but I've never been able to get to know you at a personal level. So I appreciate the time. I'll be releasing this this coming Friday. So I'll tag you on Facebook, of course.
Okay, I'll share it. Now, I'll share it. I probably won't watch it till I get back. I'm actually leaving tomorrow for a rugby tournament over in London. So,
are you?
So I'll watch it, yeah. So I'll watch it when I get back.
All right, sounds good. Well, I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you for having me.